Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of First Issue Club, the weekly podcast where we cover the first issues of the week. My name is Greg. I am here with Budget King and Mike D. What are we here to do? Well, we're here to help aid you through the muddy and murky waters of the comic book landscape because Lord knows it is muddy and it is murky. Guys, how you doing?
I'm good. This is me, Mike. I'm good.
Me too, Budget King.
I didn't give you times to say your names after I said your name.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to criticize your intro, though.
Yeah, if you're a longtime listener, you know every time the Budget King intros the show, we have to just ream them.
Yep. But that was good. That was solid.
Before we get into the show, you guys want to do a little comic book news? Because there was some news this past week.
There was. I want everybody to know that's listening that you have notes.
I typically don't write things down. I'm off the dome kind of guy. I'm freeform jazz, just like Budget King with his intro. But today there were some things I really wanted to talk about, so I had to write them down.
I love it.
There were names I wanted to remember, so I had to write them down.
Yeah, this might be a new. We're shedding our skin. We're a fully formed snake.
Oh wow, we're blossoming.
Yes, we're hitting puberty now. We're organized.
Finally, after 100 and some odd episodes, we're maturing. Well, the first thing, a little bit of a sour note: massive layoffs at DC this week. Came out that they let go 1/3 of their editorial team. The rumor is the new focus is HBO Max. They are really wanting HBO Max to work, so they had to cut quote-unquote redundancies. And DC Comics is not a major focus for Warner Media because, and I quote, Warner Media is in the character business, not the comic book business. So all they care about is owning the characters and who they are. So a lot of people are in kind of a fear state that the quality of comic books is actually going to diminish and there won't be that many coming out.
Are there any names that you were like, fuck, that person got fired?
Well, I don't know many editorial staff in general, Marvel, DC, any publisher, but
you're right.
They are literally the gatekeepers of making sure good or bad stories get published.
Sure.
So they wave a heavy hammer. So to just kind of say like, oh, it was just editorial staff, like that's actually kind of a big deal.
This is like saying music producers got laid off at it. You know what I mean?
At a label,
It's not the musicians that got fired. It was like the producers.
Yeah, but
and
like
we all know listening to 1970s Billy Joel versus 1980s Billy Joel, that a producer can make a lot of difference.
where would Bruno Mars be without
Mark Ronson.
Nowhere.
See?
See?
You know who doesn't have a lot of editors is maybe Scout could pick up a couple of these.
Scout has editors. Let me assure you. So the problem is the rumor is that they're going to hire like bigwig CEOs that have no idea about any character in DC to.
This is always the fear, though. I think I've heard this in various forms, like with big Marvel movies, like, oh, Disney purchasing Marvel, they're going to focus on the movies and the quality of the comics are going to go down. Well, the comics got better.
Well, yeah, but I think Marvel's different than DC because Kevin Feige actually said, you know what, I want the movies and the comics to play off one another.
Right.
Which could be detrimental in the same sense. Like, they're so closely tied together that actually kind of pigeonholes the comic books from exploring anything really weird or bizarre or something that can't be done in the movie.
I mean, I'm not trying to even play devil's advocate here. I'm just saying from a financial standpoint, when they look at this, I get cutting comics.
Even during COVID and the pandemic, comics still made money. Think about that. They still made money digitally. They made money on their trades and their graphic novels. They just didn't make money for 3 months.
Disney reported their only loss in a quarter in the last 20 years during COVID.
Mostly because of theme parks.
And Goofy was in rehab. So, I mean,
he's been in rehab
constantly
for a while.
in rehab. People were speculating that the reason that DC Comics kind of got the light shined on it was because of Batwang from the Black Label.
You think, for those who don't know, I mean, I think everybody knows this, but that
Batman Damned.
Batman Damned showed a bat penis in
A
it,
shadowy bat penis.
and it wasn't a David and Goliath penis. Like they weren't shorting him.
They were modest. People
There's-
were speculating because it got such bad press, it made mainstream news that Batman's penis was in a comic book.
So
That
now
they
they're
kind of
like-
came down heavy. But if you're in, a CEO, you're just like, hey, fuck, any news is good news. Like, I don't care if it's whatever
Oh, yeah.
exposure.
And I think soon after that, they said they're going to end the Aquaman run at 65, kind of arbitrarily.
That makes sense.
So you're seeing
We're starting to see it now. Yeah.
a little of this trickle down. Who's reading Aquaman though? Let's be honest.
Some people are. Well, think about this. Like, would we get books like Jimmy Olsen or Lois Lane if this, falls through?
Yeah.
2 great books.
Or all this metal shit. That I think
Metal is good. It's really good.
that's what I'm saying. Did you
Metal stays.
Metal stays.
I think event stuff
Okay.
stays.
Yeah.
I think you're worried more about the Maxi series getting a chance.
Okay.
Right. And any chance of Vertigo ever coming back is now
Yeah,
gone.
not gonna happen.
But they're gonna just absorb Vertigo. Like this is maybe a good segue. Jeff Lemire's Sweet Tooth got announced that it's gonna be brought back. It's instead of being on
Vertigo, it's on Black Label.
it's just gonna be on DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I mean, I like the Vertigo umbrella. They had a lot of great books on there, but just like you said, playing devil's advocate, it makes sense just to condense it all into one.
Yeah, and from a branding point, like I think that marketers just really need to question their sub branding. I think a sub brand, just to dip into sub brand, is a very amateur thing to do when you are like.
Was that a stab at Scout?
You know what? It's a stab at my own career, to be honest, and like in
Really?
my own day job. Like it's the most fun thing to do in media is to like create sub brands, and then you realize like, God damn it, like people just want the main thing, and the more you sub brand, the more you get away from that.
Could we sub brand here for the podcast?
We do.
How could we?
We do sub brands a lot. Budget King is a sub brand of
First Issue Club. So we're the parent company, and you're just a result of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny that brand new publishers create imprints. Like AWA has Upshot.
That is wacky. That
AWA is a brand new baby publisher, and they already have imprints.
I mean, I think we are the only media outlet that covered Scout's 10 sub brands that they were gonna launch. That I don't think that ever happened.
I don't think they can anymore. I don't think they made any money during COVID. So
Yeah, that is it. What it doesn't do anything for anybody. That's a weird thing to do. I
Right.
think Vertigo had definitely some nostalgia for people.
Mhm.
I think that there was
Or just clout.
yeah.
Like you just know, like, oh, Vertigo books is worth taking a chance on.
yeah, Sandman, Hellblazer, all that shit.
I'll tell you what too. If Vertigo wasn't stacked next to DC in comic book shops, just because of how they order them on Wednesdays, I'm not sure I would even align the two. Like
That's very true.
a couple of
Agreed.
years ago.
Very true. Next bit of news. This is kind of a happier bit of news. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund has a new interim director.
Yeah.
They made the news like a month or so ago. Their old director, Charles Brownstein, was removed after allegations from sexual misconduct in 2006, and he still had the job
14 years later.
14 years later.
Wow.
So they finally got rid of him, or he stepped down after, a lot of pressure. And so we have a new interim director, Jeff Trexler. I don't know if that's any news to anybody, but I think they hired him for one reason and one reason only. He has a lot of credit as an ethics person. He has a JD from Yale Law School, associate director of Fashion Law Institute, and is a member of the ethics committee. Oh, and he served on the board of the Museum in Comics and Cartoon Art.
Seems qualified for the job.
He does seem qualified. However, hire a woman.
Is it that hard?
Can't we?
Yeah.
Is it that hard?
Your logo is a woman.
Right. That's a good point.
This guy's been like a shithead and had his job for 14 years post harassing somebody.
Mhm.
Good point.
And probably continue to harass people after the allegations. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's cool that this guy has enough, back
No
catalog.
diss on him. He sounds like a legit guy.
Sure.
Yeah. Unless he turns out to be a turd, and then prepare to be shit on.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my take.
But I like it. I like what the Comic Book Legal Defense does. They stand up for the First Amendment in
They're
comic
cool.
books, and they provide legal defense money for lawsuits that creators have to go through. So it's a great company.
Neil Gaiman's a big backer of them.
Oh yeah, he's also had some trouble lately.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, he broke up with the woman from
The Dresden
the
Dolls.
Dresden Dolls.
His
And
wife, I think.
I think so. They have a child together. Like
What?
they were living in New Zealand. Yeah, have you not heard this?
No.
I feel like Conan O'Brien right
Wait,
now. You
how
never heard
old-
this? You never heard
How
this?
old is Neil Gaiman?
Old enough.
70.
No, he's late 50s, early 60s.
Okay, in my head, he's like 75.
Yeah,
He's Hugh Hefner in your mind.
that's what British people do to you. They're always like older than you think.
Anyway, they were living in New Zealand together,
Okay,
and then he dipped out. He just left her.
they were like
Uh-huh.
the example of like nerd romance.
Right, they were like a great alt couple.
Amanda Palmer. We should give her a name. Her
Amanda
name,
Palmer.
her
Yes,
name
I
is
hate when
Amanda
people
Palmer.
do that.
Yeah.
He's 59 years old, Neil Gaiman.
Okay. Well, that sucks. What's she doing now?
She just, I think, working on her music and her career.
The Dresden Dolls doesn't make music. Does she make? she makes music though.
The Dresden Dolls made music.
I went to go see Sonic Youth once, and the Dresden Dolls opened for them.
Mm-hmm.
Venue packed out. And then Dresden Dolls finish playing, everyone leaves. And it's like a couple hundred people left.
Boy, did they pick the wrong band to.
Oh my
to
God.
stand.
People came to hear Coin-Operated Boy
Yes.
and then dip.
And then I'm literally like walking up chest against the stage to watch the rest of Sonic Youth.
I think that's all the news we have, actually. So you guys want to bear with us while we get this podcast started. All right, clubbers. First up, we'll be covering 7 Secrets by none other than Tom Taylor, Danielle DeNucleo, Walter Biamonte, and Ed Dukeshire.
Gotta get that letterer in.
Got to. I have to.
Hey, props up to the wordsmiths
If
out
they
there.
give it to me, I want to say it because if not, we'll get fucking reamed.
You ever seen a comic though that didn't have a letterer?
Sometimes they don't list them on the comic.
Sometimes they'll just do type, like word typing, and it's heinous how bad it looks. It's
Yes.
crazy. So letterers need their day in the
Letterers
sun.
are very important. Colorers, inkers, they're a reason that people pay them to do what they do. Tom Taylor, if you don't know, did Deceased, Justice League meets Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and All New Wolverine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Daniel did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Infinite Loop, West Coast Avengers, all those books we adore. You guys less so Deceased than me.
Yeah, you really like that
The
one.
covers are cool.
I will
covers are
die.
real
I will
cool.
die on that Deceased hill.
I
With
think
all the notes you had from today's, I was like, is that the zombie code that got downloaded into Deceased?
Like it's
Was
the
that-
antimatter
the
equation.
antimatter
you fucking
equation?
plebe.
I think me and Mike D were on the wrong side of history on that one. I think Deceased
It has like 2 spin-offs already.
became fan adored.
So,
This
yay me, boo you. What were you gonna say?
well, I was gonna say, Boom recently has just had like killer releases that pre-sell out.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. I don't know what they did. Their restructuring schedule. I don't even. It might be something like they're just like only releasing fire. Like I don't know what it is, but they release shit and it sells out. And this was big in that.
I kind of hope that like COVID and pandemic helped them. Like they were able to lean back and kind of load the chamber in the release gun for like fucking fire bullets, and that's what we've been getting.
Yeah.
They did like a website release thing of covers that were limited to like 20 or 50.
Oh, fuck you.
Imagine
Now I
if you
want
got
them.
some of those.
I bet they're fucking awesome. I bet they're great. This book, by the way, which follows a secret organization that their main job, they have 2 people that keep secrets. They're in these cool little briefcases. They have been around since, I imagine, the dawn of human civilization.
Atlantis.
Yeah. And we follow these 2, one's a protector and one's a keeper or something. Like, they work in pairs. They got a little too drunk one night, made a baby. That's a big no-no in this organization, so they had to have the baby taken away from them. And I guess the story is told from that child's perspective.
That was such a cool reveal.
Yes, because this comic book, when you like dip into it, it makes you think that it's gonna be about this secret organization,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really about how this child was cast out of the secret organization and the implications of that.
He's actually raised by the 7 secrets, but he's not supposed to know who his parents are. or that they're agents in this Seven Secrets thing.
The thing that I love about this comic book is that the first like 3 or 4 pages, I was just like, I don't really understand this organization. And it's written so beautifully that it doesn't matter. You
matter.
don't actually need to know what this secret organization is protecting or doing, because that's like secondary to the really cool premise of the book.
Tom Taylor really orchestrated this kind of twist ending. He M. Night Shyamalan'd us at the end. I thought it was great. The artwork in this was stunning.
From the cover of this book, it looked a little bit like Avatar anime-ish. Did you get that vibe?
I was worried it was going to be kind of like Firepower. And I was like, well, I've
Exactly.
already read this book.
It looked exactly like Firepower. Then the art inside the book is amazing. I loved it. And reading it digitally was really fun. Like
the guided view and all that.
The way that it like revealed like the secrets in the story.
How many? 7?
7.
So do we know what the 7 secrets are?
No.
Do you care?
I don't even, if they told me what the secret was, I would forget it. I don't even care anymore.
Wow.
Forget it. I think it's one of those things too where it's better unsaid. Like, what could they reveal in the comic that could live up to your expectations?
The secret ingredient to Bush's baked beans.
That's a good one. Only the golden retriever knows that one.
Only. No, the golden retriever wants it so badly.
Oh, is that how
That's the one who
that's how
keeps
it
trying
goes?
to sneak in.
Okay.
Give me them beans. Thinking about them beans.
Is it Toucan Sam that wants the secret? Or
Toucan Sam. No, he's the creator. It's the Trix Rabbit.
He wants the secret. The Lucky Charms guy too.
Lucky Charms is just a fiend. And we have the Cookie Crisp criminal coyote who tries to steal the Cookie Crisps.
What's Tony Tiger? Tony the
He
Tiger.
just wants people to live their best lives. Tony the Tiger's the only serial pusher out here that actually wants kids to be healthy.
How do you have all of the narrative arcs of every serial
Because
box
I am an imbecile. I have a community college knowledge, and I love cereal.
I used to feel so bad for the Trix Rabbit when I was a kid. I was like, just let him have Trix.
Yeah, why are they like denying him that treat?
Do you remember when they did this thing where you could vote on if he got the tricks or not?
No, I don't.
And the world voted for yes, and then they made a commercial of it where he got the tricks.
And he threw up. These are disgusting.
Yeah.
What happened?
Honestly, that mentality for children is what produced anti-maskers today.
You think?
I don't know if I wanted to poke this bear.
Until there's a definitive commercial where Tony the Tiger is just like, I'm not bringing in my CO2. It's not great. I won't die on that hill.
Okay, a little bit of a disconnect maybe.
What they really should do, cereal companies, is make the bag the cereals come in a mask you can wear after you eat it. That's the treat.
That is
Survival.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
7 Secrets, though. A lot happens.
So there's this awesome badass character that is older, like she's a matriarch of the
She's
society.
been around since the inception of the organization.
Okay, older than you would even expect, I guess then. And as she's interrupting the flow of their punishment, she somebody says to her, "Oh, you can't jest," and she goes, "Oh, I'm jesting."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Look
what?
at me, jesting.
It was such a cool way to write it, like just
Yeah.
the
flippant
yeah.
behavior.
It was written. The dialogue in this was written expertly.
I can't give Tom Taylor enough praise. Tom the comic band Taylor. Like this is a book that when I ended it, I was just like, I need the next 5 issues right now. We got a peek at who we think the villain is gonna be, who has infiltrated the 7 Secrets due to like a mole. There's like a mole in the organization he kind of lets loose.
Which becomes his secret.
Yes, too many secrets.
Yes.
Too many secrets, Tom.
I really like the level they had with, like, they already made you really hate a villain, but it wasn't like, you know, sometimes they set up a villain and it's like, I'm stabbing a baby.
Right.
And you're just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, that
This
suits
guy's
you.
gonna get his comeuppance. Like, I know he's bad now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This made you hate a character that they didn't have to go over the top, like, I'm vile.
Well,
Right.
they even made him be like, I'm not gonna hurt. Like, I'm not gonna harm you in a way that's
Yeah.
malicious.
I'm not gonna waste my time because I know you won't give it up. Like he's very smart. He's meticulous. He's like, I'm not gonna waste my time hurting you because you've proven that you won't give up information. So I'll just cut your head off.
And I feel for him. If my life's work was just to steal secrets, like, I would dress in black and be angry all the time.
Yeah. put in your My Kim CD and just say, all right,
Yeah.
let's go get us some secrets. You think it's the thing that Oprah's always pushing?
Yeah. That's the tie-in here, I think.
Yeah.
Is that
this is like a sequel to the.
That's why
Secret.
there's
Yeah.
that big O on the front.
it's manifesting things.
Your comic book didn't come with a big sticker on it? The only comic book that made Oprah's book club.
So mine was pre-sealed.
And it's like a spoiler reveal,
Spoiler
right?
cover, yeah.
Oh,
so
well-
they wanted to polybag it, so if you're looking on the shelf, like the story doesn't get ruined for you.
Got it.
So I'm assuming it has like the villain or the dad getting his head chopped off, or have you opened it yet?
Yeah, I have opened it.
Did you guys hear about the Faithless 2 fiasco?
Hold on. Cool. What is on the cover?
It's a spoiler. We got it already.
Faithless 2.
They have
Did they polybag it wrong?
famously raunchy covers, and
Yeah.
they didn't polybag it on accident, so they sent it out with
Just like someone getting eaten out on
oh,
the cover or
and
something
it's
like
yeah.
that.
And I think that the book went for like a lot of money because it's technically a
A defect.
Recall.
yeah.
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 I saw people trying to sell Venom 27 variant. You know what I'm talking about? For like $2,000 because
Whoa.
they get double covered.
Yeah,
Anytime books
Oh.
get double covered, I guess like 100 or so
but it got
books are out
it
there.
got double covered with the 1 in 50 underneath it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Bummer.
So it's like in theory you got a $30 comic for $4.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
I saw a video of a guy on eBay like with gloves
Gloves
on, just
on.
being like, "See?
A little peek.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
How did I saw the news of that the Tuesday before it came out?
Oh, really?
How did retailers? Oh, I guess because
Well, it was a retailer specific variant. You know how like if I order like
yeah,
500 fucking copies of a comic, Marvel will be like, "Cool, you get your own cover. You're not going to get to pick the artist. You're not going to be able to pick whatever, but your store is going to get an exclusive cover for this."
yeah,
And that was the situation. So they had been shipped them already and probably just found this out and knew that they had X amount of them.
think about that. They just got gold
Fucking gold.
shipped to them, right?
Well, the funny thing is, like, it means nothing really. Normally, those retailer specific covers don't necessarily
Yeah.
hold their value unless it's like an artist who's really buzzworthy and they just happen to do like a super iconic cover.
But wasn't this the technical first release of Virus though?
Codex.
Codex.
First
okay.
appearance of
Mhm.
Codex.
So
I think you can still buy the regular cover at Midtown, so don't freak out, people.
Yeah.
Codex will be dead soon, so who gives a shit? Fuck you, Marvel.
we didn't say this too, but
It's been like first appearances just like bonkers all over the
But
place.
yeah, they had to
DC
shoot him out real quick.
DC's been the worst of it though.
I can't believe
Mm.
fucking Robin King is getting his own comic. Give me a break.
Yeah, so we've had Robin King, Punchline,
Clown,
Clown Killer, the designer, and then on the Marvel side we've had
Well-
Codex, Virus,
Catgirl too, right?
Yeah.
oh Catgirl, sure, and
Brush
then
off Catgirl.
God fucking damn it.
Did you see Mirko and Dolpha's gonna get Punchline?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the book?
Yeah.
Or her solo
Wow.
book?
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy.
now I'm interested.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of
That's
made fun of
great.
it on
Good
the
for her.
Instagram a little bit. I was
Ye-
like, oh god, here we go, no, a Punchline book.
Isn't
I didn't
that
know.
crazy?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's gonna be super sexy.
Mercy's been cool. Have you guys kept up with it?
Oh, I'm gonna do it in trade.
Yeah.
I haven't even read it. I have not even read the first one.
Yeah, I've liked it. I don't
think
think
that-
you'll like it.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like Jane Austen but with like monsters.
Ooh.
See,
Ugh.
the same thing with the Frankenstein Monster Hunter.
But that variant that we have is fire.
It is fire. Mike D, personalized it. Anywho, is that all we got for 7 Secrets?
I think so.
Let's move on to the next bit. Next up on the episode, we have Big Girls, written and illustrated by Jason Howard, out on Image. I'm going to jump the gun here a little bit, boys. This was my book of the week.
It is amazing.
Fucking ripped, slapped so hard. It was
I
so
could not
good.
believe how good this book
The
was.
reveal was killer.
This comic book was absolutely so insane. Like, if you could just pause the podcast now and just go read it and not know anything about it, that's going to be the best reading experience of this comic book, I think.
In fact, if you haven't read it, pause now. Welcome back. So the book is about a scientific experiment that has gone wrong. There is a special gene or a special virus that infects males that when you reach the age of 3, I believe, you start to transform into this monstrous beast. It affects girls and women too, but instead of making them monstrous, it makes them gigantic.
Yeah, the men are like kaiju.
Yeah.
The women are women that are the size of a skyscraper.
Yeah, they're giant.
Yeah.
They're giantesses.
I didn't know that giants were inherently male. That they needed a.
You know what? Sometimes when you're on Pornhub, you get some weird ads.
Okay,
and
yeah. Giant porn.
it leads you down some holes.
Gigantasisters.com.
Step on me. So, what this follows is there's this city state that's created called, what's it called? Like the Sanctuary
The
or something?
Haven or something?
Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Has one of those names where
It's
It's-
not, neither one of those names is it, but yeah.
it's like a safe city. It's because these big girls protect it. They stand around the border and they shoot them and tackle them and what have you.
Just stop right there. That is such a good premise for a comic book.
Totally.
A handful of giant women protect a tiny town.
Also, this is the part I love.
And that men turn into brainless monsters.
Secretly
Fuck yeah.
feminist.
Yeah.
This was such a good, awesome way to like be kind of like sci-fi, futuristic feminism.
This is another book that works so well digital because the way that it reveals it has this tiny little box that says, you guessed it, men ruin the world. And then it blows up to like giant, like dude, like a kaiju beast
Yes,
destroying everything.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. This book had a scene in it that I haven't seen in a comic book in probably a couple years that made me audibly gasp. And it's when the leader of this organization that is protecting the city blows the brains out of a giant 3-year-old boy.
Yes. That was.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
It was one of the most striking images that I've ever seen. Spoiler.
And it set the tone for this book that's like kind of. Not that it doesn't take itself seriously, but it's like a little bit larger than life, if you will.
Haha. Well, it was a tonal shift. Like that's when the book really
It was like, whoa.
shifted because even the woman, the big girl, as they're known, was affected because you typically don't see these kaiju turned men as little. It was a little infant. It was a 3-year-old boy the size of a sedan, just sitting in a home with like little bumps and muscles on it, like it was beginning to turn.
Still recognizable as a human.
Yeah.
At this point.
And I mean, unfortunately, the director of this organization had a pretty logical stance on it of just like, the tough decisions aren't fun to look at. No one likes to see how the sausage is made or how this city becomes protected. But in a couple of years, this cute little 3-year-old boy would kill everyone in here.
Yeah.
And I know, it's not fun to see this, but this is what has to be done.
We got to do it.
And the reason that kid is in there is because there's an illegal organization housing these kids and bringing them into the sanctuary city.
They're trying to take over, or trying to ruin the sanctuary city.
Right. And so, do we want to give away the ending?
Yeah, I think so.
This other secret organization is basically breeding kaiju men as like an army.
They're like the Catholics of the kaiju world.
Yeah, totally. Everyone knows that Catholic families have as much babies as possible to take over the world.
to save the world. One of my favorite things about this comic was in the letter to the editor, he wrote about how much he loves going into a comic book shop and seeing something new and just picking it up and dipping in, and he wanted to contribute to that. And Kirkman actually wrote about this as well early on in COVID with a handful of his new books, Firepower. And that's like exactly me. I love the experience of going to a comic book store on Wednesday, seeing something new, interesting that I've never seen before, and giving it a shot. And this book, 100% fulfilled. That was insane how interesting it was.
Well, it's crazy. This book was completely accessible, somewhat familiar, but in every sense of the word, completely new. We've never seen this kind of story told, this kind of pacing, this kind of setup. Like, it knocked my socks off, to be completely honest. Like, it was, like, fucking good. So good.
And it didn't do the thing where it's like, I've been thinking about this for 7 years, and finally it came to light, and you're going to see things like you've never seen. You're never going to know where the art goes in 4 comic books. Like, it's not pretentious at all.
I was vacationing on the French Riviera, and this dream came to me.
And as I thought about going to the island of Sicily, I thought about my MFA degree.
But Jason Howard has illustrated books that we've, I think, covered on this podcast and talked about, on the show and off the show. He did books with Warren Ellis, Trees and Cemetery Beach.
I loved that book. It had a lot of like homage covers to other Image books, and I thought the story was really interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he wrote Cemetery Beach too. He might not have, but tonally it kind of seems.
Oh, you know what? I think him and Warren Ellis worked together on the story, and he illustrated it. He also worked with Kirkman on Super Dinosaur.
Yep.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And The Astonishing Wolfman, which ties into Invincible. So, never mind.
Does
Carry
it?
on. It does. The Astounding Wolfman.
Yeah. I mean, can't say enough good things about this book.
Sometimes the conversation is just go read it.
Yeah,
it was good.
We can't put into words how good it is. It's like it's an experience you have to just experience for yourself. Like, the art flows, the writing's awesome. If you can still find it, go get Big Girls. You think it's a silly name, you think it's going to be a goofy premise, you're wrong.
It's a perfect name and a perfect premise.
It's a perfect name, perfect premise. Conversation over about Big Girls, but is the conversation over about First Issue Club? For right now it is, and that may be sad, but don't worry. We'll be back next week where we talk about, you guessed it, first issues. Until then, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, and remember to register to vote. Bye.
This has been another episode of First Issue Club. Our music is provided by Primary Color Music. We are recorded in KCUR Studios. You can find us, rate us, friend, and follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, email, and your favorite listening platforms at First Issue Club, FIRST.